Hi, this is Sarah.
And this is Rachel.
And this is the Diaries, a podcast where we rip apart, episode by episode, the Vampire Diaries. Warning, this is a rewatch podcast. We always bring up like future things, how they'll relate to this episode. It's definitely going to come into play, some certain elements in this one. So just to know, spoilers.
Yeah, definitely a lot to talk about in this episode. This week we're talking about season 2, episode 14, Crying Wolf. As you know, the wolves are going to be a big part of it, given the title.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get up to some shenanigans.
Wolf stuff, except for always doing. I love season 2, but the wolf arc is my least favorite arc. So
yeah, this is such a lull for me right now. I'm like,
yeah, not to like try to undersell this episode to you.
Yeah.
Yes, there's some good.
There are some good plots, especially if you're a Stelena shipper.
That's what I was
like
just gonna say.
This is a really good episode for that.
If you've been waiting for some positive Stelena energy, it's finally coming today.
Yeah,
Finally.
This is a good episode for that, and I do kind of like that whole everything related to like Elena and Stefan. I like.
Yeah, so, I do too. But first, we've obviously got to start with the bad,
of course,
which is the werewolves. So we're out in the woods, you know, the usual werewolf vibes.
Of course, burning bodies.
Exactly. We see these dead werewolf bodies like piled up in a stack next to a bonfire, and Brady adds like another body to the pile, and Jules is just like standing there watching. Which, why are they burning their friends' bodies? That is so weird. Why can't they like collect them and go back to Florida with them? Like, I know having a trailer full of bodies is like weird and smelly situation, but like they're in Georgia, it's probably not that big of a trip. Yeah, and they're your friends. You're not going to return your friends' bodies to their families.
Yeah, that's so weird. I didn't even think about it like that. I just was like, here we go again.
Yeah, because also I get that they want to stay to get the moonstone and whatnot, but like, I don't know, send one person back with the RV and the rest of you take a flight or rent a car or something. Like, come on. Like, that's so weird to be like, we're going to burn. I guess it's pretty inexplainable to show up with a bunch of dead bodies.
I guess, yeah.
But
presumably like their whole families would know.
Yeah, you could at least return the body to the family and be like, we obviously can't acknowledge this publicly, but you can privately mourn and bury.
Yeah, you can at least have the body and like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just weird.
It is very weird.
Again, adding to the vibes of why we don't like the wolves. So Jules and Brady, they like walk over towards the trailer where one of the remaining wolves is there. Stevie, aka Colleen Ballinger's husband, aka Miranda Singh's husband.
I did not know that.
Yes. So that just adds to the weird vibes going on in this episode. And I think this is like the further proof that we need to like confirm that we're not supposed to like the wolves, because like the cinematography, the setting, the light is so weird. This scene is so like cold and like it feels very gray. It like basically is an entirely like gray scene. Like there's just nothing like happy looking about this. The lighting is bad. The coloring is bad in like not a technical way, but in a doesn't feel good way. Yeah. Which again, so intentional to be like, you're not supposed to like these people. Yeah. Doesn't work in their favor. So you know, including Stevie with his weird scarf and his weird hat.
Oh yeah, I was noticing his like knit scarf. Yeah. It's like, wait, what?
It's very like 2010s, but it's just very again like, ooh, not a guy I want to hang out with.
Yeah, no, not really.
So anyway, so Stevie is filling in Brady and Jules about how when Mason was hooking up with Kathy, his
the hot vampire chick.
Yeah. Mason started asking like all kinds of questions about the sun and the moon curse, like how to break it, what do you need, like I don't know why he thought Stevie would know these answers, but he was asking Stevie. Sure. And so Stevie, like it clicked in for him when he heard that Tyler had mentioned that Mason was there for the moonstone, and then also when they were stopped last night by an evil man witch, that you know, that kind of put 2 and 2 together for him, that like what must be going on is that these vampires are trying to break the curse. Like obviously like pieces are in place. Yep. And Brady basically says like, well, we obviously can't let them do that, even if we have to kill every last vampire in town. So just setting up antagonists.
It's so not that serious. But
it's so not that serious. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Brady's on this rampage. So this obviously sets the tone for the episode. They're going to do whatever they can to figure out how to beat the vampires to breaking the sun and moon curse. Yeah. But for a little lighter note, back at Caroline's house, the girls are waking up from slumbering it. They're all in Caroline's bed. It's very cute. It's so precious. It's just so good. It's like this is a good episode for like little moments like that where it's like we're just trying to show we're trying to show off the relationships that all of these characters have to one another.
Yeah, I agree.
So this is that, and like Elena gets a call. She sort of like falls out of bed.
I think Caroline pushes her.
Caroline like kind of gives her a shove that causes her to fall out of bed. So she basically pushes her out of bed. And yeah, Stefan calls her and they're just kind of flirting. They're having a cute little conversation. Elena's got a night pony. She's got her night little ponytail.
She fell asleep with it in the ponytail from last night, I guess.
Yeah. And yeah, she like kind of crawls out of Caroline's room because they're like, Elena, like, don't answer your phone.
It's clearly too early.
Yeah, too early for a conversation. And yeah, so Elena's on the phone flirting with Stefan, and she's like, take me away. Take me far, far away.
Yeah, when are we going to have a sleepover?
Yeah,
so
she
says.
Yeah, very flirtatious. And Stefan asks, this wouldn't have anything to do with avoiding John, would it? And she goes, yeah, that's exactly why I want to get away.
Yeah, it has everything to do with that, obviously.
Yeah, and Stefan, he gets it. He's like, in that case, where do you want to go?
Yeah,
let's go.
Perfect boyfriend. Like, that's exactly like what you want from your boyfriend, to be like, yeah, actually, I do want to go away with you specifically because I'm avoiding people, but like, I still want to go away with you. Exactly. You're the one I don't want to avoid.
Yeah.
He's like, bet, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, love that. It is a good little like Stefan and Elena moment.
Yeah, and I love that it's sandwiched into like a perfect little friendship moment too. Of like, I love that they're all in the same bed together. Yeah, the girls, it's so cute. Yeah,
I know.
The friend vibes are strong.
Yeah.
And then some other friends we'll get into here. Yes. Well, starting off maybe a little bit more sketchy. At the salvatory house, Damon is walking Andy to the door. You know, she's doing like kind of like the last steps of getting ready, checking herself in the mirror, putting like, she has to put a scarf on over her bandaged neck. Yeah, her whole neck is covered with a Band-Aid. I'm like, yeah, there's probably a more subtle way to cover that, but sure.
Definitely.
Also love that this just means Damon keeps those on stock for like when he bites somebody. He's like, gotta send them away with their Band-Aid.
Yeah, also like he couldn't be biting her in like a more discreet place. I guess I don't understand. Because
when he did bite her in the tub, it was like more shoulder.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why even bite the neck? If like, I don't know. It's just weird. But I guess the scarves are fine. She makes it work.
Yeah.
And so Andy mentions that she is covering the Historical Society's high tea today because a writer is visiting and he's doing a book about small town Virginia. Interesting. We've heard this before. Yeah. Damon obviously picks up on that too. And he asks, you know, what's the name of this writer? And she says it's Elijah Smith. Damon's like, Smith? He's using Smith. So the little funny moment. But before Andy can leave, Damon has her repeat the story.
Yep.
Of like what she's allowed to say, which is that she can't say that he bit her or that he drank her blood, but she can say that they hit it off, that she really likes him. And then Damon compels her that you can also say you're falling hard, and she says, I think he's the one.
I think he's the one. Yeah, this is where I do love Andy, and I kind of love the Damon and Andy relationship, but I feel like this is where it's like, is any of it real? I don't know.
I think like obviously some of it is real because she hit on him first. Like she had Jenna introduce her to him.
Yeah.
And I choose to believe that he did not compel her to sleep with him.
Yeah. Also, she does say like, you know, you're sweet and funny and honest before he compels her. Yeah. So I'm choosing to believe she does think those things. In it. He was very honest with her. Maybe too honest. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like, I'm choosing to believe it's not fully compelled, but I don't know. It's definitely...
There's obviously enough there that it's such like a gray area. Yeah. That he's definitely wrong for how much he is compelling her.
Definitely.
So it's not great. But unfortunately for Damon, this is probably one of his more healthy coping mechanisms.
Unfortunately, yes.
Like compelling himself in a relationship. At least Andy is alive. Yeah. That's something for him.
That's true.
So, yeah. So anyway, as Andy's going out the door, Alaric is like kind of just getting there. So he's like in the doorway, and it's so funny because he kind of does like an awkward like, he's like, noticing any of this. Like, I'm not here for this. And she says like, oh, hi, Alaric.
Yeah.
And he comes in and, you know, Damon's like, oh, my new girlfriend, Andy Starr, Action News.
And then Alaric just goes, it's not called Action News.
Yeah, I love that. I was looking on the Vampire Wiki, and apparently it was called Action News, like, there was an Action News in like, I don't know, the 80s or something. Okay. Like it was a thing. Yeah. So it's kind of funny that Damon's like holding on to that. Yeah. But he's like, I still want to call it that.
That's cute.
But anyway, Alaric comes inside and Damon shows him the dagger that John brought him last night. And, you know, they're just talking about how like they don't know if they really trust him. Like if Damon should use it. Yeah. Like you can't trust John. And so they kind of are chitter-chattering. He's like, so what are you doing today, Alaric? And he says that he's going to go to the Historical Society party today with Jenna. Yep. And, you know, Damon obviously is like, well, I've got to go too. I think it's finally time that Elijah and I are formally introduced. So Damon has set his plans in for the day that he's going to go to this. He's going to go to this tea party and cause Damon issues, as usual.
Yep. And Alaric has specifically told him, don't kill anyone. But Damon says it's just time that they talk. They're just going to have a talk.
Yeah, formal meet and greet. Yeah. I mean, really the only 2 times were the house with Rose when he killed him.
Yeah, that's true.
And then when he ripped the hearts, when he showed up at Slater's apartment. I think that's the only 2 times that Alaric and Damon have, like, been in the same place together. So...
Yeah, and they interacted for, like, a few seconds.
Yeah, both of those were, like... maybe a couple one-liners, like nothing more. So
and the one Damon was like, I thought you were dead. Yeah. And Elijah was just like, for centuries now.
Yeah, so time to have a proper interaction.
Yeah. Having an improper interaction. That's not really a good segue, but it works. It's improper because I hate them.
Yeah.
Jules and all of the wolves are at the trailer, and Tyler shows up and asks, like, why they're still here. Didn't you hear what the man witch said? Yeah. You guys got to get out of town. And Jules says they're going to leave soon. Thank God. Mm-hmm. But they're looking for the moonstone. And Tyler's like, because he still hasn't been filled in. Once again, I'm surprised at how little everyone knows.
Yeah.
This is like the one thing you kind of lose on a rewatch. It's like kind of hard to remember what everyone knows. And Tyler is like, tell me what is going on. Like, what is going on with this moonstone? And they sort of explain it, and Tyler's like, okay, well, who cares? Like, whatever, we'll break this curse.
Yeah.
But then Jules explains, like, this could mean we never have to turn again, like, unless we want to.
Yeah, because I think the thing that's interesting is, like, Stevie is kind of the one more so leading the explanation, and he's like, AKA werewolf domination. Yeah. And Tyler's very, like, he seems kind of nervous by, I think, Stevie and Brady especially, in
for
general.
Good reason.
For good reason.
Yeah.
But, like, when he says werewolf domination, Tyler's definitely like, yeah, who cares? Yeah. Like, that... I don't care about these stupid, like, wars between the species. But Jules, I think, realizes this and is quickly like, you'll never have to turn. This is, like, very an appealing offer to Tyler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he's immediately interested. And, you know, they say there's more. They go on to explain, we have to find the doppelganger if we want to break the curse. And Tyler's like, what?
Yeah.
And Stevie sort of explains, like, this girl, Kathy, the hot vampire chick, would know all about it, so we need your help finding her.
Yeah.
So they show Tyler a picture of Kathy.
Yeah.
And it's very cute. It's very, like, the photo is very, like, 2010s. Like,
yeah, it's
just
a
very
good...
cute.
Yeah, except the third time I watched this, I've watched this, like, I always watch everything a few times to prepare. I was so taken aback by how poorly photoshopped Mason's head was on the body next to her.
It.
Like, they definitely got Nina to take a photo, for sure, dressed up as... Or used one of her own photos, like, as Catherine. Like, it was very clearly a photo of her. Which is what you're supposed to focus on.
Yeah, that's all I noticed, to be fair.
But when I was rewatching, I was, like, really looking at him, and I was like, they just copy pasted, like, it just
I gotta pull this up.
Magazine montage, little, like, glue and sticking. I don't know, it was just funny. But she looks really good. I liked, like, and it was a purple, like, it was very Catherine.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was clearly Catherine, you know, in the purple.
Yeah, it was definitely very clearly. She has the curls, like, she has. It's very clearly Catherine, like, trying to pretend to be, like, someone who's probably, like, 20-something in
Florida
2010s.
Girl going to the bar. Yeah.
It's very cute. And Tyler is like, wait, that's Elena Gilbert. I've known her my whole life.
Yeah.
And they, like, Brady and Jules just kind of exchange a look. That's kind of where they leave it. But
it's an immediate, like, connection. Like, oh, Tyler just gave them something they really needed to know.
Yeah.
That's going to drive what's going to happen next.
Yeah, more than he even knew he was giving over.
Yeah, and more than they even knew he would be able to give over.
That's true. Yeah, he unlocked the whole thing.
Yeah, I feel like they were just like, any chance you know how to find Kathy? That's who we're looking for. And
he's
like, oh, I know her doppelganger.
Yeah, I know the actual person you need.
Yeah.
Funny, yeah.
So that's really going to drive where they go next.
Yeah, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But then later at the grill, Caroline and Bonnie are there. They're you know, continuing their little girls' day. Elena has left, but
I love that they kind of continue the sleepover by going to the grill. Like, Elena's gonna go off with her boyfriend. There's always one girl in the group.
There's always that one girl. It's Elena.
Yeah, but Caroline and Bonnie keep it going. They go to the grill just to chat, which they're
to get up to stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're talking about how they're gonna knock out Luka so they can search his brain for answers. I'm like, okay.
But meanwhile, I'm like, if one of us was a witch and one of us was a vampire, we would be doing the same
every
thing.
Other weekend, we'd be like, so if you drug this
yeah,
with a
I'll
witch,
help
whatever.
you carry him out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll search his brain. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, but
normal sleepover things. Let's be real.
Yeah, truly. If I had powers, that's what I would get up to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's giving away what we're getting at. But Caroline basically asks Bonnie to tell her about like this witchy plan that she's cooking up. And Bonnie says she's going to ask Luka like what's going on with the curse, what Elijah wants, all these things. And Caroline says like, what if he doesn't want to tell you? And Bonnie says basically that he won't have a choice.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then she sees Matt over like Bonnie's shoulder, and she does like a little wave to Matt, but he like just does not react, like stone faced, and then he just turns around and leaves. It's so like obviously a snub that even Bonnie is like, what is going on there? Like it's just like no avoiding that.
Yeah, no.
And Caroline's like, I don't know, I thought we were good, because she did like stand him up last night because she was kidnapped.
Yeah.
But obviously she said she was with Bonnie, and Bonnie was at the grill, so it's not a good look. So later, Caroline tries to talk to Matt. She like more like specifically goes up to him, but you know, he's like, I'm working, like I can't talk right now. Again, very intentionally like a snub. And you know, she keeps pushing, and he reveals like, I know you were lying. You said you were with Bonnie, and I saw Bonnie at the grill. Like, you know, there's no getting around this. And so he just walks away, and Caroline is obviously shocked. She's just like, oh, like she did not even realize that she'd been so blatantly caught in her lie. So poor Caroline. Like, I get why Matt is mad at her. Like, she did lie and got caught in a lie, so like it's fair on his end, but also like she got kidnapped. Like she went through it. She got tortured. Like, I don't know.
If he only knew.
Yeah, if he only knew, he'd have no right to be mad at her. But obviously he doesn't. He has every right to be mad at her, because it's just, as far as he knows, she just lied.
Yeah.
So, for whatever, that's for now. Anyway, the other boy that's messing up with Caroline, Tyler, obviously comes in and goes straight up to Caroline, and he strategically knocks into her shoulder and sends her bag like flying. All of her contents like all over the floor. They both like bend down and start like quickly trying to pick it up and like get it back in her bag. And Caroline is just like, stop trying to talk to me, like go away. You know, and Tyler, shady Tyler, as they're doing this, he grabs her cell phone and like sneaks it into his pocket. Obviously that was why he like did this in the first place, was to get her phone. And he's kind of saying stuff, I'm sorry, but you don't even know how truthful it is when he's doing this while saying it.
Yeah, I just assumed he was saying it as like a distraction. Maybe he like slightly means it, but at this point, I mean, he's stealing her phone for Jules and Brady and the wolves. It's like he's pretty on their side.
Yeah, it seems like he doesn't really mean it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the wolves are using him so hard. He's totally following it. It's like you've been saying about like, he's so like cult mindset right now. Yeah. Like he's definitely just following what he should be doing. So anyway, Caroline gets all of her stuff together and she storms out. And then Matt goes up to Tyler and is like, if you guys want to get together, that's fine, but just stop lying about it. And Matt is so obsessed with the lying right now. Like, I get it, he's being lied to, but I feel like they're just pushing this so much. Like, it feels obvious that they don't have a plot for Matt, that they're just
let's supposed to be jealous.
Yeah, let's make his plot that he hates lying.
Yeah. So, this is what I meant when I said, like, season 1 is the Matt season, if you like Matt.
Yeah, it is his best.
It's a good one, but then they have so little that they can do with him in this whole season. They literally... his plot in this whole season, they do little honeypot situations.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. That's the best part of the season, is they finally has something to do, because it's hard. True. And his position at this part of the season is like,
when you don't know anything. Yeah,
and you are just getting lied to. It's like, well, that's the only thing we've got to go off of.
It's literally why we haven't seen Jenna in years.
Literally,
she has nothing to do.
But yeah, so he gets like really pissed at Tyler in this scene, which I'm like, I mean, it's fair, I guess. When you think of the real teenage connotations of like, your best friend is hanging out with your like maybe girlfriend, and like seems like they're getting together and they're lying to you. It's like, I guess it's fair to be pissed. But when he's like actually getting pissed at Tyler in this scene, you're like, Matt, you are the least of the drama going on right now. Like, just pull it together, man. So it's a little whatever, but anyway, now we'll see the consequences of Tyler stealing the cell phone, which is, of course, Stefan and Elena. Yep. They've got their bag packed. So they're, like, ready to head out. When Elena gets a text from Caroline saying, like, I really need to talk. Where are you? Yeah. And she stops, and she, like, responds saying, like, headed to my lake house with Stefan.
What's up? Yeah.
And Caroline's like, oh, never mind, like, all good, have fun.
Yeah.
And Elena just XOXO.
I know, I love that. I was hoping you were gonna say it, because I was like, the little XOXO is so cute. I was like, I just love that.
I just want to text Elena Gilbert. I just feel like she'd be a fun, like, friend to text.
Yeah, she loves to text. Bonnie says that in the season 1, and you know what? Me too. That's my most Elena trait. I love texting.
You're my Elena Gilbert best friend that I can text.
Yeah. I gotta start signing off XOXO.
Yeah, it's so cute. And so, Stefan's obviously like watching her kind of hesitate, and he's like, everything all good? And she's like, oh yeah, just Caroline, but we're good now.
Yeah.
So they head out the door, clearly on the way to their romantic weekend getaway. So that's Stelena on their way.
But unfortunately, we see Tyler, like, is the one that had Caroline's phone.
Yeah.
Obviously, we saw him take it, so, we already knew.
Just a reminder, it really was Tyler.
Yeah, it really was Tyler who had taken the phone. He did get away with it. And, yeah, he took it back to the trailer, and he was texting from there with all the wolves. And Tyler tells Brady, like, Elena's going to be at Dunham Lake or whatever. Like, her family has a lake house up there.
Yeah. So shady.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and so clearly, like, and I think Brady says, let's go get our doppelganger. Like,
yeah.
This is where I'm like, I am very sympathetic to Tyler at this point in the story, because he is very much being manipulated. He is very much being taken advantage of for being so naive. But also, this is a scene where I'm like, you saw what they did to Caroline last night.
That's true.
They tortured her and put her in a cage. You're really just cool with them being like, let's go get our doppelganger, and going after Elena and thinking Elena will be fine.
Yeah, which also, this is like, maybe getting a little bit ahead of myself, but related to this, what does Tyler think they need Elena for?
Yeah,
because he doesn't know that they're gonna kill her.
Yeah,
that she has to die.
I don't know if he knows. Like, he could maybe be thinking like just a drop of her blood or so. I don't know, but he knows so little that it's like, what is he imagining they possibly could do? A lock of hair? Like, I don't know. And then either way, let's go get you think they're gonna like put her in like the Four Seasons and keep her nice and like comfortable?
Yeah,
come on. In the cage.
Yeah,
come on, Tyler.
No, he's an idiot.
Yeah, he's being way too naive. Yeah. Like, I don't know, maybe he thinks like Caroline was just getting treated that way because they hate vampires, and like they wouldn't possibly do that to a human. But also, come on.
But they definitely would, yeah.
Again, him being so naive and them taking advantage of it. Like, this is where I'm like, Tyler, this is not look good for you. This is not.
Yeah, this is really Tyler's downfall. This is where
downward
I lose it with him.
Yeah. But anyway, upward Tyler.
Yeah.
Doing pretty well.
Yeah, they're in their, this is like a good scene for Stefan and Elena. We see them. They've they've made it to the lake house. They went on their journey, and they pull up in Stefan's Porsche.
Love that.
It looks so good. The lake house is very pretty, and like again, it's fall.
It's always fall. It's always
fall. So it looks really nice. Like, it looks beautiful. I love this location, and I'm glad they reuse it. Like, this isn't the only time.
Yeah, the lake house comes up like a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice little like secondary location. So they show up, and Elena is sort of like staring wistfully out the window as they pull up, and Stefan asks if she's okay. Obviously, this would bring up a lot of memories. It was her family's lake house.
Yeah.
And Elena does say this is the first time she's been back since her parents passed away.
Yeah, she doesn't even fully say it. She just says,
she says,
this is
before.
The first time. Yeah. And Stefan immediately realizes, he's like, oh my God, like, we can leave. Like, you just tell me, and like, we'll get back on that highway when we'll go.
Yeah.
It's very cute. Very supportive.
It is very cute. Yeah.
But it is like, again, and I say this like anytime it comes up, because I really do appreciate the reminders that like Elena lost both of her parents very recently. Like, less than a year ago. Maybe we're just hitting like around the year mark at this point. Although they never acknowledge that, of course. But like, that is such a short amount of time to have lost someone like that. And especially as a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're acknowledging that this is kind of a soft spot for her. It kind of brings that back around.
Yeah.
But anyway, of course she is like, we'll stay. Like, it's okay. It's just.
She's just having a moment.
Yeah, just need a moment. So they do go in, and Elena goes right in. Stefan's standing at the doorway, and she's like, oh, you don't need to wait. Like,
just like come on in. Yeah.
And she doesn't say come on in. She
says, that's true. She doesn't say that. Yeah.
Yeah, she says I'm fine, and he's like, oh well, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
And she starts like playing a little game. She's like, oh no, like the house was left to John Gilbert.
Yeah.
Like, he's the only one that could invite you in. I'm so sorry, Stefan. And he's like getting really mad, and she's like, you're kidding me. He says, you're kidding me, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, she starts laughing. She cracks a smile, and she invites him in formally.
Yeah.
he comes in, they start kissing, and it's whatever. But I'm like, why did he get actually kind of mad about that? Like,
I have to assume, like, just the thought that they'd have to talk to John.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that'd be enough to make me mad.
Yeah, but he was just offering to go anywhere else. Why not just be like, let's just go somewhere else at this point? Just go
anywhere, yeah.
It was like one of those funny moments where I'm like, it is cute because she was joking, but I'm like, why did he act so genuinely mad?
Yeah.
It's a real easy thing to forget. I don't know if I would remember that I gotta invite my boyfriend formally into the house to enter the door. That would slip my mind for sure. But anyway, so they're like kissing. They're definitely like happy, having a moment. Mm-hmm. This is definitely, and this is gonna come up a lot, but like this is definitely like a top 3 like Stelena episode for me.
Definitely,
in terms of like they get so few like really good moments. I feel like most of them are in season 2 because the next one is like at the end of this season.
Yeah.
But this is definitely one of their top 3 like strongest, best episodes.
Yeah, I think so too. There are a couple later scenes that we'll get into later where they're like basically like playing being adults and like as if they're, you know, like a more serious couple. And it's just very cute. I like their dynamic in this episode, and it is a rare. It is a rare Stelena.
Very rare. Yeah. So they're happy. He made it in the house.
Yeah. They're making out, whatever. Also, Stefan picks Elena up and puts her on like some sort of counter. Her boots are so tall. It was very distracting for me. Also, Nina is tall, so like, how tall are these boots? They like go past her knee.
Yeah, it's like one of those things like when she sits down, you're like, that would not be comfortable because you have to keep your knees at like a 90-degree angle in order like the way that the height they're reaching for your knee to bend.
Tall boots.
Yeah, it's so funny. That was such a thing at like the 2010s. So I remember in high school being like, I gotta find the tallest boots I can.
I know. I'm like, I need boots to my like thighs.
That was a thing. Thigh highs.
Oh yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah, so it's just funny, but I noticed that too. The tall boots.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Stelena is settled in, so we'll see more of them later, but for now we got to check in at the Historical Society tea party, of course. Again, always an event. For some reason there's a tea party specifically. Sure. And so Elijah we see first is with Carol. They're like speaking about whatever, this book he's working on. They're sipping tea, and Damon shows up. And Alaric greets him in front of Jenna, who's also there, and Jenna's like very surprised to see like Damon there. Yeah. Also with Andy, because Andy comes right over and like is with Damon. Just imagine if you tried to introduce your friend to a man at the bar last night and he very blatantly like rejected her in front of everyone, and then the next morning she showed up and was like being flirty with him and was like, I think he's the one. Yeah, so good. Also, like Damon at this point like thanks Jenna for introducing them, and then he like goes to walk away to talk to Carol, and Andy just like looks after him longingly and just goes, wow. So she gets it. Yeah, I can't blame her for any of that, even if whether she was compelled to do that or not.
Yeah, no, she's so real. Because like, he could reject me too, and then I would be right back in it if he gave me a crumb of attention.
Yeah. I would 1,000% be her right now. But as Jenna, I'd be like, girl, are you okay?
Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, this is not good. Suddenly you're wearing lots of scarves.
Yeah. Always suspicious.
Always suspicious. It should be.
It definitely should be. But yeah, like I said, Damon was walking away from Andy and Jenna, and Andy does a little wow. And then we see like Damon walk up to Carol. Carol immediately lights up.
She loves him.
She loves Damon. She was like, Damon, like,
my bestie.
Yeah, literally. And he like smiles back at her, and then he says Carol, and they do like a little side kiss, like they're very like European.
I feel like he's trying to show off to Elijah like how ingrained he is. You know,
he definitely is.
Because then Carol goes on to introduce Damon to Elijah, and he says like, Damon's like one of our like founding family members. Like, you know, it's definitely trying to I don't know, like a power play, I guess, with Elijah. To be like, look at how, like, you're trying to play these games to get ingrained in society here. I am the society.
Here. Yeah. No, it definitely is like that. It's very funny.
Yeah. I don't know why the power dynamic matters at all.
Who cares? Who cares who has Carol in their corner? I don't know why it matters, but
I don't know. But Damon's got her.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they do the little meet and greet handshake. And like later we see Alaric is watching Damon. He at some point later is like leading Elijah into the study at the Lockwood house, and he closes the door. And then John, like, comes up to Alaric, seeing, like, they're both watching, and he asks what Damon is doing with Elijah. And Alaric's like, why would I know?
Yeah.
And John's like, because you're Damon's little helper, which I love, because I'm like, so true. John just read him.
I know, that was pretty funny. I'm like, Alaric, you kind of are just following him around all the time.
You are his helper. Like, be real, guy.
Yeah, you would know. But yeah, so John says that, and then John basically tells Alaric that Jenna can't stay in the dark forever.
Yeah.
You hate when John Gilbert is the voice of reason.
That's exactly what I wrote down. I was like, you've got a problem when John's being the only logical one in the room. Like,
yeah,
that is not good.
Not great. So yeah, John tells him that, and then John also tells Alaric not to stay over anymore. He doesn't think it's appropriate.
With children in the house.
Yeah, with children in the house. They're 17 and
like
16, I guess.
Yeah, it was
like,
they're not like, okay, maybe it's like, it's the kind of thing I feel like you have to ask them if they're okay with Alaric staying over, like, because they're young, they're 16, 17, but like, I'm pretty sure she did, and she did.
Jenna
and
did,
was
a couple
like,
episodes ago.
I'm happy that you're happy. Like, they're old enough to understand, like, that Jenna has a boyfriend who's gonna stay at the house. Like, they're not babies who are gonna be like, Daddy. Like, who?
Yeah.
Like,
also, Alaric has a great relationship with them at this point.
Yes,
so like,
he is more a father to them than
John
is.
Yeah. So, and even more than like an uncle. Like he's more of a male figure than John is. I don't know.
1,000%.
Yeah.
They haven't leaned into that like a ton yet, but obviously like season 3, that's such an integral part of it. Is like, he is their father. So like, yeah, he's such an important figure in their lives that him being there is doing way more good than bad.
Yeah. John is just the worst.
Yeah, he is being the worst. And again, like, yeah, he's like saying like a good thing of like Jenna should be in the know, but he then following it up with being like, and you shouldn't stay over. It's like, okay, again, the power plays. You're just trying to start a fight. Like, this isn't any actual kindness of your heart, John.
No, exactly. It's like he had a good point and then he ruined it by like
he's just trying
saying
to pick
all this
at
stuff.
Him. Yeah. Classic John.
And he makes it worse. He says he wants his ring back because he notices Alaric is still wearing the Gilbert ring.
Yeah.
Like, John, shut up. You're the worst.
Yeah, you are the worst, literally.
John and Alaric kind of leave it there. He doesn't give the ring back, but it's put out there that he should. And we go to the study where Damon had pulled Elijah in to have an aside. Damon wanted to talk to him, as we know from earlier. And Elijah just asks him where Elena is, and Damon says that she's laying low with Stefan. And Damon says he's confused about why Elijah is there. Like, why is he trying to, like...
He up to?
Yeah, what's he doing? Why does he need to be, like, integrated into Mystic Falls high society? And Elijah just tells him not to worry about it. Just keep Elena safe.
Which is interesting because I don't even know the answer, really, why he's doing this. Other than
really either.
They just do this? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if he... I think he just... Yeah, I think he just... In case he needs anyone on his side, I guess. I don't really know.
I don't think there's a specific thing he's going for.
Wait, actually, could it be related to him needing to know
where the witches
were?
That's exactly what it is. He's trying to get that locket.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out all of that, which Jenna does lead him to, so I guess it's kind of working. But yeah. Okay, it must be that.
There is a thing. Yes.
Yeah. You're here with us in real time, figuring it out as we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Elijah says not to worry and just keep Elena safe, and Elijah goes to leave. In his mind, conversation done. And Damon like vamp speeds ahead of him, classic, and Elijah turns it on him, starts choking Damon, and then Damon goes to like choke him back, and Elijah like with ease pulls his hand off and like is crushing the bones very clearly as he pulls it off. And you know, he's just like, come on, Damon.
It's so iconic that like the visual of them like holding each other's necks, because if you remember in season 1, Anna and Damon actually did the same thing to each other, where they both pinned each other at the same time, and they both held on to each other's necks, but they both just like held on, and then at some point we're like, just call it.
We're too evenly matched.
We're too evenly matched. This was like batting a fly away. Elijah's
just like
get out of here,
peeling his hand away.
And like unaffected, and Damon's like dying.
Damon is for real being choked. And Elijah's just like, whatever.
Clearly the power balance that was there with Anna is not applicable with Elijah. Not even sort of close at all.
That's true. That's a very good way to highlight just how like what different levels they're on.
Because Anna was strong. Like, I don't know if she was...
She was 500 years old, I thought.
I was going to say, I could never remember. I guess she was pre-1864, so she was some amount
she was
older than Damon.
Pre-1864, I guess maybe not necessarily
we never
500.
get an exact if you listen to the Stefan Diaries books, I think she's 500, but in the show, it's never, like, specified how old she is.
Yeah.
So who knows? But either way, she's older than Damon, but they're still, like, physically pretty matched.
Yeah.
But, like, Elijah is so much older that, like, Damon is, like, not even, like...
Yeah.
It's like fighting a child. It's like, you barely can, like, do anything to me.
Yeah.
Escalated by the fact that, like, as they're doing this, Elijah says, "You young vampires, so arrogant.
Yeah.
How dare you come in here and challenge me?" Like, the mentality is just right there, too. Yeah. Love Elijah putting Damon in his place.
I know.
And then Elijah from the desk picks up a pencil and stabs it into Damon's neck. And then he pulls out a handkerchief to wipe his hands. Classic Elijah.
Love him.
And then he says, like, one of my favorite lines, "I'm an original. Show a little respect."
I love that.
When Elijah says that.
Yeah.
And then he just, like, reiterates, like, "Keep Elena safe. Like, do what I need you to do and I won't kill you." And, like, walks away. And Damon's left there, like, choking, sputtering, trying to get the pencil out of his neck. Like.
Yeah, covered in blood. Elijah gave him, like, the handkerchief. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Elijah, not one to be messed with.
No.
And unfortunately, Damon is now, like, getting to his bad side.
Yeah. But. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Damon usually does.
Of course. Damon's very good at. But trying to come off someone's bad side, Bonnie, sort of. Bonnie is at the grill, as we saw earlier. She's still there, and she approaches Luka, who's playing pool, like, I guess just by himself.
He has no friends, because he, like, is a traitor. Yeah,
true. And Bonnie tries to make amends with him. She gives him, like, a coffee, and Luka takes it, and he says he's surprised that she's even talking to him. Mm-hmm. But Bonnie says, like, she heard about what Dr. Martin did to save Stefan and Tyler and Damon last night.
Yeah.
Liar.
Oh, yeah. And Luka's like, well, if I knew, like, that's what it took. Like, it's kind of getting a little flirty where it's like.
It is pretty flirty. Also, I just feel so bad. Luka had so much potential, but, like, he could have been so much more. He clearly just wants to be friends.
I know. He's a character, and we talk about it all the time, the great, like, side characters of season 2. He gets so lost in the sauce of, like, there's so many good ones, and he could have been a really good one. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, he just doesn't get enough. He doesn't really, like, he's kind of just put as this, like, traitor character that they can't really trust. Yeah. He's doing all this stuff, like, for his dad, for his family. Yeah. So it's, like, hard to, I don't know. He's in a weird position, that guy. Better position across the grill. Caroline is sitting, like, watching everything, and Jeremy comes in and joins, and he says that, like, Bonnie called him to come help, and so they're kind of sitting watching, you know, Bonnie, like, putting her moves on Luka. Yeah. And Caroline says, like, she's working it. Like, he's buying what she's selling or whatever. Yeah. And she's like, she's giving him the sex smile, which I was like, Caroline, why is she always the one that's going on about this stuff? It's so funny. And Jeremy's like, all right, Caroline, I get it. Yeah. And Caroline immediately, like, kind of realizes, like, oh, that was, like, a jealousy reaction. Yeah. And she does, like, a little subtle smirk where it's like, like, Caroline definitely is.
Yeah, she knows.
And I feel like she's picked up stuff before. Between them, but that was definitely the most obvious, which is maybe why she said that. It was maybe like
to suss it out.
Yeah, like maybe a check to be like,
well, it definitely could have been.
But it also could be just Caroline just saying first thing that comes to her brain. It's very Caroline.
Yeah, that's also true. But yeah, so we see, like, you know, Caroline and Jeremy talking, and then we see Bonnie and Luka are playing pool, and Luka, you know, he's taking a sip of his drink, and he starts to stumble, like, toward the pool table, and he asks what's happening, and Bonnie's just like, you'll be okay.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And Jeremy approaches, he comes from the table, and, you know, to, like, help Luka stand up, because at this point Luka can barely stand. He's, like, clearly being knocked out.
Literally about to hit the ground in, like, 2 seconds.
Yeah. Fortunately, Jeremy holds him up, and he asks Bonnie, like, what kind of witch roofie was this? And Bonnie just goes, a strong one.
Yeah. And she kind of, like, smiles, smirks, and, like, walks away. I love that moment for her. I was like, snaps.
Yeah, that is fun for her.
I was like, Bonnie, you know, like, she's not gonna let anybody run up on her again. Like, she is not gonna be making those moves she'd made before where people are gonna get her. She's gonna get them first. Yeah. That's very this episode with Luka.
Definitely.
It's a little revenge, I think, for, like, the moonstone situation,
is.
the tricking. Bonnie was the only one getting, like, fooled by him. Nobody else was even interacting with the Martins to, like, have fallen to that. It was all targeted at Bonnie.
Yeah, and Elena immediately found out and, like, figured it out that he was like playing her for a fool.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm sure that felt even worse. Like Elena knew the day it happened, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So Bonnie definitely deserves a little bit of witch roofing.
Yeah, a little. I don't know. I feel bad about how this goes down.
I do feel bad. It's we'll talk about it later. It gets worse.
It gets way worse.
This I'm like, you refeed him.
Oh, well,
he'll be fine. You didn't let him get concussed. So
Jeremy held him up. He was fine.
It's not great, but
it's not great.
We'll get into the worst later.
Yeah.
Jumping back into some nice, like, lighthearted stuff for now.
Yeah.
At the lake house, Elena is standing out on the dock. She's got a blanket wrapped around her. And Stefan comes out and he wraps his arms around her. And Elena's kind of like reminiscing about the lake house, talking about like Jeremy breaking his arm, like learning to swim, that kind of stuff. And, you know, she asks Stefan if he ever thinks about them, about what their future could look like, about what their memories could be. So Stefan says, like, there's a lot to be said about their future. Like, that's definitely a bigger conversation. And Elena's like, that's a box we should not open.
Yeah.
And Stefan says, like, whenever you're ready, like, we can open it. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, she doesn't want to. She's like, she wants to be in the here and the now. She wants to live in this moment. Stelena is so interesting to me because you kind of mentioned this earlier, how, like, their love in a lot of ways is, like, based around these moments in which they pretend to be normal.
Yeah.
Like, their strongest moments are when they're trying to just pretend like
just
how
regular.
Elena here is like, we'll just not talk about the fact the future for us is, like, not a thing.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, too, when we know she kind of broke up with Matt about the future, too. So maybe it's just an Elena problem.
I was going to say, I'm actually starting to think, I'm like, I think Elena is a little bit avoidant.
The future.
Kind of, yeah.
Which,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll definitely have to talk about that when we get, like, the flashbacks, you know, to figure out what happened with her and Matt. But, like, yeah, it's interesting that is kind of a thing she likes to avoid. And again, it is a strength for Stelena when they are just pretending that they're as normal as possible. And they have a very cute moment at the end here where, you know, he's like, well, this will be like one of our future memories that we'll look back on. It'll be the memory of when your boyfriend whispered in your ear that he loved you. And then he, like, leans in and whispers in her ear, I love you. Yeah. And she just looks so happy, like the smile on her face. And she kind of, like, squeezes his arms that are around her, like, a little bit tighter and just, like, looks so content.
Yeah. It's very cute. I do love this. Everything that happens at the lake house, even the little, like, chase scene later. I really like the whole lake house plot. Yeah. It's very good.
Yes, this is a scene when I think about cute Stelena moments, I'm definitely picturing them on the dock wrapped up in a blanket.
Definitely.
It's very them.
Yeah.
And then going into the next one is also fitting that vibe where Elena's sitting on the couch with a glass of wine watching Stefan cook, which, first of all, what 17-year-old couple? I have never in my life seen a 17-year-old couple that is doing or acting like this. They're, like, talking about Elena's parents, how, like, her mom would do the same thing and her dad would cook. I'm like, she's sitting there with a glass of wine. What 17-year-old, first of all, is even really drinking wine? I definitely was like, can't even.
No, same. Me to this day. I'm like, I can't do it. But, no, I thought the same thing. And I think this goes to what you were just saying. Like, they're playing adult. They are playing adult. Normal, serious relationship. Like, I forget sometimes that haven't even been together a full year.
No.
Because they just aren't, like, playing at having a serious relationship. I don't know. It works, I guess, but, like.
It works, yeah. Like, again, it is one of their stronger moments, but it's not real.
Exactly. I think that's the thing. It's like, it's not real. They're both just playing. Literally, it feels like Stefan's cooking. He's trying to do, like. He's, like, playing a character. Elena's watching. She's, like, kind of playing a character. She saw her parents do this. She feels like she's playing relationship. I don't know.
Yeah. And in a way, it could work. Like, I'm sure there's lots of 17-year-olds that do this that, like, could really lead to, like, a beautiful, like, relationship and, like, have you, like, go into an adult relationship very seamlessly. But the problem is, like, this is not Stelena's reality. Like,
exactly.
Come on. I mean, what ends up happening, like, they're dealing with, like, werewolves and witches and original vampires. And, like, this is not the reality of what their lives, like, can or will be. And again, too, is, like, Stefan is going to be 17 forever. Like, he isn't actually ever going to be able to lead to an adult relationship that, like, they're dreaming they're going to have.
Yeah.
So, true. I don't know. As cute as it is, sorry to the Stelena fans who were like, this is going to be a great Stelena episode. Now we're, like, digging it apart.
I still like it. I do
still like it. But when you really, like, dig in and think about it, you're like, oh, it's interesting because it's almost like the writers are kind of setting them up from failure, like, from the start. Where it's just, like, it's cute, but they're playing at something that they will never actually get to have.
Yeah.
Unless she decides to turn and they just live in this forever bubble of being, you know, I don't know, 17, pretending to, like, you know, make dinner and drink wine.
Yeah, pretending to be 30 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is very interesting. Also, I wanted to note here, Elena/Nina looks gorgeous. I'm like, she looks so pretty.
Me every 2 scenes.
I know,
she's
every
beautiful.
scene. I think I say this like most episodes. Either her, Caroline, or like Bonnie. I'm like, someone looks beautiful. But but anyway, they realize like the fire is dying, and Stefan says he'll go get more wood. But Elena says, no, like I'll go get it. And Elena goes to get a jacket to go outside because it's colder. Mm-hmm. And she goes in her parents' bedroom where they have like a closet full of coats and everything. And she just starts like smelling her mom's perfume. And Stefan comes behind her and he stands in the doorway while she's like smelling the perfume. And Elena tells Stefan Jenna was supposed to pack all of this stuff up, and she kept putting it off. And obviously she gets why.
Yeah.
Be very hard to look through all of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure just doing the main house was hard enough, and then having to go there, like doing it twice. Which also, first of all, how are Elena's parents? I know her dad was a doctor, but crazy that they just had 2 houses, one with like extra perfume, extra jewelry, like
second house.
Yeah, it's one thing to have a second house, but have a second house that's actually stocked with extra clothes and all sorts of stuff. I was like,
all the cooking supplies and stuff. They were just like
fully stocked.
Yep.
So a little crazy.
Fully stocked in a lot of ways.
Well, we'll get to.
So Elena like goes over to the closet to get these jackets, and Elena gives Stefan this plaid jacket that belonged to her great grandfather. Yeah. And she says he looks really high in it, and Stefan is like, in your grandfather?
Yeah, your dead great granddad's jacket.
Yeah. Which is also funny to me because I'm like, this jacket looks like it was tailor made for Stefan.
Yeah. Okay. It fits him perfectly.
Yeah, it fits him perfectly. But yeah, so Elena goes and gives him the jacket, and they start like making out in the closet.
Yeah, because he really did look that good.
I guess he looks that good. And Stefan like sort of like pins Elena up against a wall, and then scientist / investigator Stefan like feels that it like and can hear, I guess, that it's like hollow behind it. Yeah. So he starts like banging on it and is like, it's hollow, we have to investigate. And he starts pulling away boards. I was like, this is a little audacious of you, Stefan. It's like someone else's house.
Yeah, he never at any chance asks, like, is this okay? Like, yeah, I wrote this same thing. I was like, the return of scientist Stefan. Like, I remember watching this and always thinking it was so weird. Like, why would he just immediately start, like, pulling the boards apart and, like, trying to see, like, just because it's hollow. But I was like, actually, this fits Stefan's character perfectly.
It does really fit Stefan, yeah.
Now that we've officially dubbed him scientist investigator Stefan, it's like, oh, yeah, no, this is his MO. If something's slightly off, he will look into it, and he cannot be stopped.
Yeah, he's like, I'm having this perfect moment with my girlfriend. We're, like, making out, whatever. No, I have to stop. We have to investigate what's going on with this wall.
And of course he does continue because it becomes even more suspicious. He gets all the planks down and it's a door.
Yeah,
it's like
a locked door.
Right behind, with a big lock on it. He just pulls it off. Again, he's not being like, is it okay? Like should I open this up,
this
Elena?
Could be anything.
No, he's like, I need to know. This is Stefan's #1 personality trait.
Truly.
He needs to know. And so he rips it off. He opens up the door. He turns on the light. And it is this like fully stocked closet of weapons. It's like clearly vampire hunting weapons, stakes and wooden bullets and crossbows and all of the things we've seen before. So yes, Elena is just shocked. She's like, oh my God, like she never knew that her parents were like this.
So yeah, now they've found this closet full of these weapons, and we see in like a later scene, just very briefly, Elena finds another John Gilbert journal. Mm-hmm. And
I think there's like a stack of them, like all of them are there.
There's we at least know like there's a bunch of these journals and they're there. And Stefan goes to get wood while Elena stays in the closet and just like keeps checking things out. She's very like
she sees like
surprised.
Wood and bullets. Like it's so undeniable that this is like vampire hunting. This isn't just like, oh, my dad was a secret like hunter, like of deer or something. Like this is for vampires.
This is for vampires. Yeah.
And again, the John Gilbert journals, because obviously, you know, we know last season Jeremy had the one, and she's like, Jeremy had the one, but I knew there were more.
Yeah.
And this is where they are. The fact that they're behind a locked door is like, oh, clearly like my parents were keeping this secret info of vampire knowledge that we obviously know is true. This is going to play a lot into the next episode. So
definitely.
For now, that's where the Gilbert journals are. Then we go back to Caroline's house where they've brought Luka, always using Caroline's house to do random spells and whatever from absentee mom Liz.
Yeah.
Never home. So they're going to put Luka into like a trance-like state, like a hypnotic state, so that she can ask him questions and he'll have to answer. And she tells Jeremy that she's going to draw from the candles so that she has enough power and strength to like do this and not get burnt out. And so Caroline's kind of like placing the candles like around the room, like spread out. And she's like, let me go get the matches. And Bonnie's like, I've got it. And she magically lights up all the candles in the room. Love when she does that. And Jeremy says, I'm never going to get used to that. Caroline says, oh, come on. That's pretty hot. And you know it.
She's such a little meddler.
I love her. This is me for real. I'm like, this is definitely what I'd be doing.
Oh, of course.
Caroline's right. Bonnie is hot. Let's be real.
Yeah, and I love the light trick. I love the candle trick.
Yeah,
like, that's
it's
amazing.
so good. So then Bonnie sends Jeremy out to go get like a bowl of water, and immediately he's like, Caroline,
are you kidding me?
Yeah, why did you do that? And she's like, oh, he's totally crushing on you. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna be with this traitor warlock boy?
Yeah,
like,
that you're not like gonna interrogate like while he's in a trance. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Bonnie?
Yeah.
And, you know, they're kind of having that back and forth about, like, oh, but, you know, it's Jeremy. Like,
yeah, Elena's little brother.
Yeah. And, you know, they're kind of saying, like, she's like, well, you know, you're a witch and I'm a vampire. And Bonnie thinks that means, oh, well, then we can't be picky. And Caroline's like, no, it's not that we can't be picky. It's just that we can't judge. Like, don't judge him just based on, like, he's Elena's little brother.
Yeah.
And I think this is a kind of a good reality check for Bonnie. I'm glad that we're finally doing something to move this plot forward. I feel like we've been flirting with the Bonnie-Jeremy storyline for what, like...
for so long.
6 episodes at this point? It's been since, like, the near start of the season.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we're finally actually doing something official to be like, let's push this situation forward, finally. So just as that scene is ending, Jeremy comes back in, and Luka is starting to wake up, so it is time now to dig into his head, I guess.
I guess so.
We'll come back to that later.
Yeah.
We'll check in back at the Salvatore house where Alaric and Damon are drinking, talking about their day, usual bro things. And it's so funny because Alaric is like, that Elijah's one scary dude, but he has nice hair.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard. I was like, he's so real for that.
I know. It's like, Alaric gets it.
Yeah, he does get it.
Yeah.
And more getting it. Alaric asks Damon not to kill Andy because she's Jenna's friend.
Yeah.
He's like, please don't. And Damon's like, of course not. If I did, who would report her death? Like, come on, Alaric.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great comeback on that. But of course, again, I appreciate that Alaric is like, I can't stop Damon from killing everybody, but I can at least ask that he doesn't kill Jenna's friend.
Yeah.
So Alaric is like, I gotta go. I gotta pick up Jenna.
Yep.
So he goes to leave. He says he's gonna show himself out. And Damon's just sitting there still drinking like by himself. He kind of like leans back. And then you hear this like loud crashing noise. So Damon, of course, gets up to check. And he just sees Alaric like stumble out with a knife in his stomach. And of course, he collapses. They're so lucky that ring works on just like any supernatural person, not just vampires.
Yeah.
First of all.
Would they have even been able to test it out before? I guess like
no.
They knew. I think the journals maybe talked about it.
The journals did have the ring, so maybe they knew from Bonnie that it was any supernatural, but they didn't know that anything else existed other than vampires and witches when they read that. So yeah, it's a gamble either way. It was a gamble.
Yeah.
Either way. But anyway, so he passes out. And Stevie, like, jumps out and surprises Damon. And he, like, basically jumps on his back, rides him like a bull or something. It's so weird. It's kind of unbelievable because he jumps on his back and he pushes the vervain syringe into Damon's neck. And so he's, like, pumping that into him. But Damon's still, like, running around, crashing into stuff with Stevie, like, riding on him. And, you know, he eventually does finally, like, fall and pass out. And Stevie's like, wow, you're strong. You took the whole syringe.
Yeah.
Because obviously Damon is taking vervain every day. He is building up a tolerance. But, like, getting pumped with a syringe's worth is, like, not really gonna... Yeah, that's a high tolerance.
Yeah, so. that's a pretty high tolerance considering they only started... drinking vervain like not that long ago.
It's a little weird, but to me it kind of reads as like, oh no, they're just good at this. Like they do this all the time. Like Stevie jumping on him, holding on to him with the syringe and is like, oh, you've done that before. That's not like you just tried it and got lucky. Like you've done that before. So more wolves start showing up because they've done this before. And he's like, oh, that one's dead. So they just drag Alaric's dead body away. And then Jules comes in, her shotgun over her shoulder, definitely giving Florida.
Yeah.
It's giving Florida hardcore.
Sorry to the Florida fans, but
sorry to the Florida fans, but that state's got a specific rep and they are embodying it right now. And so Jules is like, "Oh, hello, Damon," which he's still awake. It didn't even
it's just like kind of taking him down.
Yeah, it took him down. It made him like kind of groggy, but he's still awake. And so he just kind of looks up, and then the scene ends. We'll see like obviously what they do with him after that. Yeah. But the part 2 in the Wolves' plan is what's next.
Yeah. So we see like back at the trailer where we saw that they were kind of having like their little wolf like meetup. We see that Brady is talking to Tyler and he says, "We're good to go." And he confirms with Tyler, like, "Are you up to this? Like, are you willing to do this?" Mm-hmm. And Tyler does seem like a little bit hesitant. So Brady is like reminding him, very culty again. He's like, "They've been lying to you. They're the enemy. Like, come on, we got to go steal Elena." Like, he doesn't explicitly say that, but yeah. And so Tyler agrees to go along for whatever reason.
Well, and it's interesting because I was kind of thinking during the scene, I was like, they kind of remind me, Brady, I guess, reminds me of Tyler's dad, where it's like this weird thing where he was like,
a little bit, yeah.
He was like, "Don't be a wuss." Like, don't be, like, he said something about Tyler being a wuss, or if you're going to wuss out. Yeah. I was like, it's feeling a little Mayor Lockwood coded.
That's true.
That, I don't know, maybe there's that element. I mean, come on, his dad and his uncle died, the only male figures in his life. That it's like, I don't know, maybe there's some element of that too, where like, Tyler kind of needs a family.
True.
So, I don't know. He kind of goes along with it. But it's definitely like, not good, Tyler. This is not how it's supposed to be. Your dad making you fight people in the parking lot. It's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Your wolf pack making you kidnap your oldest friend or one of your oldest friends. Yeah, no.
Yeah, not how it should be.
Yeah, he's just a little naive.
A little.
Much like my girl, Jenna.
What a segue.
Thank you. We should do a compilation of our best and worst segues.
Yeah. Some of them are so forced. This one? Yeah.
No, this one, my girl Jenna, she's very naive.
Yeah.
John is at the Gilbert house and Jenna is there, of course, too. And John asks Jenna, like, "Where's Elena?" And Jenna tells John, like, they went to the lake house. They wanted to get away from you.
Yeah.
And Jenna says, "And you know what? I want to, too. So I'm going to go, like, and stay at Rick's."
Yeah.
And they sort of argue back and forth about Jenna's parenting, saying she doesn't, she's not.
I was so happy with Jenna in the scene, though, because she's like,
oh, yeah.
Because John's like, "Oh, well, who told Elena she could stay at the lake house with Stefan?"
Yeah.
And Jenna's like, "I did. And if you have a problem with it, lawyer up." Like,
like file for guardianship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she tells him. Thank God.
She's like, "I have the rights to tell Elena what she wants to do." Yeah.
It's literally what we were saying in the last episode. It's like, John has no rights. Like, who does
her
he think
parents chose to leave her with Jenna, knowing that John was a biological father. Like, that tells you everything you need to know, John.
John, that is a snub. Get with the program.
Such a snub. So anyway, so Jenna's like, "Yeah, everyone wants to get away with you, including me."
Yeah.
And so John says, "Oh, like, Alaric? Alaric is a liar."
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Well, did he ever tell you what happened to his wife?" And Jenna's like, "Well, she died." And he's like, "Well, did they find the body?" And like, he's just planning all these ideas in their head. And he's like, "You should ask Alaric about it." Obviously just trying to stir up trouble, which again, like we were saying earlier, I'm like, you know, theoretically the intention is right. Jenna does deserve to know. Yes. We are the leads of that committee that Jenna deserves to need to know committee. And, you know, it's a good thought. However, the way he's implementing it shows that it is not for any good reason that he's doing it, because like he's just doing it to stir the pot, to cause drama, to like make people upset. Because why would you drop it in this way if you actually cared about her and her knowing? Like, it would have been one thing if he sat down with her right now and was like, "I'm going to tell you some stuff right now and you're not going to want to hear it. And it's not good. But
you need to know." Yeah.
Yeah. And you're going to be mad at people, but like you deserve to know.
Yeah.
If he actually believed that's what he would have done. No, he's like, "Oh, why don't you ask Alaric about it? Why don't you see?"
I know. I always really, this is like where I'm like, I really fucking hate John. They can never redeem him fully. Because if he's trying to do this to get at Alaric or like Damon, or I don't even know who he's trying to get at. I guess Alaric in this, like he's trying to paint him as this liar. Like, why is he basically taking it out on Jenna? The only person this is really hurting is Jenna. Like, sure, it'll hurt Alaric because their relationship will probably, like...
Yeah, she'll get mad at him and distance from him.
But realistically, this is just hurting Jenna. And I feel like John is very hurtful to Jenna in more than just this instance. Literally, the last episode when he was stirring the pot again, too.
Yeah.
And I just don't get why.
The father thing, how he just drops that on her. It was so insensitive.
Yeah, he's such a dick to her for, like, no reason. Jenna's the only one he should be being nice to. Like, she's human. She's out of this world. Like, she has nothing to do with it. She's not condoning it or anything. Yeah. I don't get why he's so awful to her.
I don't know. And it's just so dumb. Which, I will say, one of the things where it's like Jenna allowing Elena to go with Stefan to the lake house, I'm like, my parents would have been mortified.
Okay, true. That's a little outrageous.
Yeah, if I suggested going by myself with my boyfriend to like a lake house, like for the weekend, my parents would be like, "You're joking.
Are you nuts?" Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think the answer is? No, absolutely not. So I'm like, in some ways, I'm like, I do see the questioning, because she's also supposed to be really young, like 25 or something.
I think so,
She's supposed to be like pretty young. So I'm like, but also, all in all, we see Jenna is not actually making any bad, like, parenting choices. Like, yeah, she's lax with the rules, but, like, all in all, like, the girl's doing the best she can. So, like, John, there's no reason to be a dick about it. Like,
also, John, if you really have a problem with her parenting, you could be around more and you could be nice, and maybe they would listen to you. Yeah. Or Jenna would at least let you, like, co-parent or like be involved. Like,
you're the reason Elena is going to the lake house, because she can't stand to be near you.
Yeah, like, he's the worst.
Yeah, he sometimes good intentions, but always bad execution. Awful, cruel execution. Yeah. So,
speaking of cruel execution,
oh gosh,
this is my segue episode. Yeah. Very near an execution. Damon is like in his torture chair, just like Mason was. It's
drawing a lot of parallels for sure.
Drawing a lot of parallels, which is not lost on Damon. But yeah, we see Damon's in the chair with like some collar on, and he has some chains all over him, holding him down. Yep. We see Alaric's dead on the rug, like
passed out.
But it does like pan to the ring, so we see
like Damon notices the ring, and he kind of looks relieved about it. I'm like, they're besties.
They are besties. Want him to die. Yeah, he doesn't want him to be brutally murdered in this. Yeah.
What a way to go.
That would be terrible. And yeah, we go back to Damon and we see the collar that Stevie has on Damon. Yeah. Stevie's there. And he's like holding on to chains connected to the collar. And Stevie explains he saw this in like a porn, I think
he says. A torture porn flick inspired him to make this collar.
Which also makes me think that they've done this before. And he was watching that porn for like these
for his ideas.
What a freak. And yeah, it has like, it's like a collar that had nails in it, but Stevie took the idea and made it wooden nails for vampires. Yeah. And when he pulls it, like the nails go
like tightens.
Yeah. And dig into Damon's neck, which he does. He pulls it, and it's
really
it looks awful. It's awful.
Stevie's the biggest little freak we've seen on this show.
Yeah. Oh my god, Miranda sings. Don't watch this episode. You will look at him with a new light. Yeah. But yeah, he's a freak. Jules is asking Damon about the moonstone, and this is where Damon points out, like,
he's like, the irony.
Yeah, if you only knew the irony of this moment. And he says, here's what's gonna go down. You're gonna torture me. I'm never gonna talk. Someone loses a heart. Last time it was your boy Mason. Yeah. And Jules sort of says, this time it'll be you. Yeah. We'll see about that.
Good for Damon.
Yeah, not looking good for Damon, because he's outnumbered. We do see it's Jules, Stevie, and the other werewolves are still there.
Yeah, the remaining people are all there, except for Brady, who's with Tyler.
Yeah, exactly. All of the werewolves are still there, and Alaric is out cold. We don't know when he's coming back.
Yeah, who knows?
So he's probably not much help. And yeah, Stefan and Elena are away, so like, not looking good for our boy Damon. Yeah. But yeah, and then they just keep doing it. They keep pulling the chain, and Damon is groaning in pain, and they clearly have the upper hand, unfortunately.
Yeah, another group that has the upper hand. Keep the good segues going. At Caroline's house, they've got it all set up. Poor Luka. Oh my god, I feel so bad. He isn't my favorite character, like we've said. No. Like, you know, whatever, but I do feel for him. And Bonnie is trying to like get in his head, and so they've got him like passed out. Her hands are like on his head, and she's asking him questions, and he's just asking her to stop. Yeah, and she's still going. And so they end up getting out of Luka. Like, they get him to reveal that, like, you know, he wants Klaus dead, that Klaus has his sister, that he's been enslaving like witches to make them try to figure out how to break the curse without using a doppelganger. And, you know, they get through like kind of that, and they ask, you know, how do you kill Klaus? And Luca's like, please don't make me tell you. He'll kill me. Like, he'll kill me for telling. And Caroline and Jeremy are both kind of like, we don't need to do this.
Yeah, they're prepared to stop, but Bonnie is not.
Yeah, Bonnie's the one that's like, no, we can get it. Like, we have to keep going.
Yeah. I'm like, this girl was bound to get into expression. This is a very dark Bonnie moment.
Yeah, we can see it starting now.
Yeah.
So they keep going, and, you know, he goes on to reveal that, like, right after the sacrifice, you know, Klaus will be at his most vulnerable, and Elijah will be able to kill him. And, of course, that's the big drop that is revealed in this episode that, like, oh, Elena will have to die in order to do this.
Yeah, the curse has to be performed.
Yeah, and we talked about this before already, is that, like, as a rewatcher, it's really pretty clear that, like, that is the wording Elijah and Elena use when they make the deal, is that, like, her friends will be safe after, like, up into and after the curse. He does not protect her, like, promise her safety. But on a first watch, this is a pretty big shocker. You definitely,
definitely
were led to believe, as her friends were, that, like, she would be okay. So, it's a big surprise. Going back to Elena, at the lake house, Stefan is outside. He's gone to go get the wood, like we talked about, when Brady appears, and, you know, he like immediately has his, like, wooden bullets and shoots Stefan in the chest, like, you know, surprised him. And then Tyler comes in. Imagine that you get shot and Tyler Lockwood is the first face you have to see. Brutal.
Tough. It's tough.
If I were Stefan, I'd really be, like, rethinking some things right now. I'd be like,
I'd be like, how did this happen to me?
Yeah, how did I get here?
Yeah, unfortunate. But yeah, Brady gives Tyler the gun and tells him to shoot Stefan if he moves.
Yeah, Tyler's probably also like, whatever life changes, like, whatever got
Tyler's
me here.
like, what the
Yeah, he gives him a stake too. He's like, and kill him if he, like.
Yeah. Stefan is, like, writhing in pain.
Yeah.
And Brady goes off to go into the house, and Tyler's telling Stefan not to move. And Stefan is like, I have to get this wooden bullet out before it goes to my heart.
Yeah.
But he's not gonna fight him.
Yeah.
Which, thank God. I'm like,
yeah.
But yeah, Tyler still is, like, on edge. And Stefan asks Tyler, like, why are you doing this? And Tyler tells him he can't let the vampires break the curse. Like, he needs to be the one to break it.
Yeah.
And Stefan tells Tyler, we don't want to break the curse. Like, we just want to keep Elena safe. And Tyler is like, I do want to break the curse. And he shoots Stefan in the leg again.
Yeah, he shoots him again. And he's like, Elena will be fine.
Yeah. Elena will be fine. I can't be like this forever. And after Tyler says, like, Elena will be fine, Stefan realizes that the wolves didn't tell him that
his
to break
head,
the curse.
Snaps up and is like, who's the liar now? Like,
yeah, exactly. He's like, finally, I have some
some ground.
Some leverage here.
Yeah.
And Stefan tells Tyler that Elena's gonna have to die to break the curse.
Yeah.
And we see this did get through to Tyler a little bit because he, like, lowers the gun a little bit. Tyler's
clearly getting, like, betrayed and used and taken advantage of in every which angle.
I feel bad for him.
I do feel bad for him. Like, this stretch of the season, and I was thinking it particularly in the scene for Tyler's, like, this stretch of the season is very all of these teens getting hardened by this life. Like, Caroline an episode ago.
Yeah.
Bonnie. Look at what she's doing to Luka right now.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Elena getting, like, chased around, and then also Tyler here. Matt just with lies, just normal teenage stuff. But these four, I'm like, oh my God, like, they're really having to go through it. You know, fighting in secrets and, like, you know, I don't know. It's hard to watch Tyler have to deal with this. But of course, this sets us up then that, like, okay, maybe Tyler's not gonna support Brady in kidnapping Elena.
Yeah.
So we cut to in the house. Elena, obviously, the door is just wide open, which is weird. And she realizes, like, Stefan hasn't come back. It's been a minute. So she starts to, like, she goes outside. First, she grabs a knife because she realizes, like, something's up. So she grabs a knife and she goes outside. Brady is, like, waiting by the door, and he immediately, like, jumps out, tries to grab her, and she stabs him in the stomach.
Yeah.
I love her. She's getting very, again, hardening, like, themselves. She's getting very good at having to defend herself in all, like, moments of life, which is crazy. But yeah, so, you know, apparently the werewolves are, like, pretty smart and skilled because he follows her around the house by smelling her.
Yeah.
Somehow he can't hear her walking up and down the stairs, but he can smell, like, which rooms she's going into. So she's, like, taking off, like, pieces of her clothes so he can chase her around. Whatever. He's following her. Eventually she does finally make it outside, and she's, like, starting to run, and Brady is, like, chasing her outside. Yeah. And Stefan finally, like, shows up, reappears, and he rips out Brady's heart and kills him.
Yep.
And, you know, Elena drops the knife. She hugs Stefan. He's saying she's okay. And then Tyler, like, kind of sheepishly appears. And, you know, again, imagine having been chased around the house, almost kidnapped for like the 4th time, third time in a month, and you see Tyler Lockwood appear, like,
just slink out of the shadows, like,
what a phase.
Yeah, but Tyler does like say, because Elena very clearly is like kind of confused as to why he's there, and Tyler does say like, I'm sorry, like I didn't know. I just didn't want to be like this anymore.
Yeah.
And Elena, this is what you alluded to in like the last episode.
Yeah.
Elena is immediately sympathetic, and she like ends her hug with Stefan and goes over and hugs Tyler.
Yeah.
And she's just very like, he apologizes again. Like it's just a very, she gets it moment.
She's so compassionate. The act of leaving this comfort that Stefan is providing her to instead provide comfort for Tyler is so telling of her characteristics. And like I said in the last one, like her and Caroline are vastly different. Like Caroline was getting tortured for hours, and Tyler had a moment to like help her and kind of hesitated, which was really her problem with it. Whereas like Elena's just showing up and Tyler happens to be there. So it's easier to show compassion to him in that moment. But it definitely is very like, it's very telling that Elena is willing to accept him in that moment. And I think this is a good thing. It's nice that it I think, signals like, okay, Tyler's in the fold now. Like, everybody is aware of him being in it, and he's aware of everyone else being in it at this point. Like, things are going to change from here on out with Tyler. If he stays. We'll see. Well, we'll get to that at the end.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
But anyway, all is well with Stefan, Tyler, and Elena. We'll see what happens. Tyler's going to just take Brady's dead body somewhere. I don't know what's
I guess.
I don't know how they clean these things up, but...
Yeah, they always do.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, but...
Speaking of cleaning things up, this is going to be a real task.
This will be a mess. Yeah. Jules is still threatening Damon back at the Salvatore house. He's still, like, chained to the chair. Yeah. She's asking him where the moonstone is, and... Elijah appears.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's holding the moonstone and he says, "You looking for this?"
Yeah.
It's just very like, how did Elijah even know to come? Like, how did he get this upper hand?
I don't know, that too. It was like, does he just have a witch detector on Damon? Like, let me know when he's in danger and I'll go take care of it. Like, it's so funny.
No, I know. I don't even know, how he figured this out. But yeah, Elijah, perfect timing. He knows what's going on.
Yeah.
He shows up. He has the moonstone and he was sort of staying in the doorway before, but he comes a little bit further into the room and sets the moonstone down on just a little table that's there. And he tells the wolves, like, go ahead and take it.
Yeah. And he backs up as if to give room for them to take it. He's like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah. He's, acting like, just go ahead. You can have it if you want.
Yeah.
And one wolf rushes at him and Elijah easily pulls out his heart. And then so two, I guess, agree. Like they think,
they do it together. Yeah.
Yeah. But Elijah does his double heart extraction move.
Classic.
And they obviously 3 of the wolves now dead. That doesn't leave that many. So Jules I like the
bounces.
way they she bounces. I like the way they do her little speed up because she has werewolf speed.
Yeah.
And she's just kind of puts her head down and leaves. It's funny.
Yeah.
And Stevie stays and he tries to hide. He pulls his jacket
he kneels on the ground and pulls his jacket around his face as if Elijah will just stop seeing him. So funny.
And then Elijah kind of pulls him up and asks, what about you, princess?
He says, what about you, sweetheart?
Yeah.
I was dying. I was like, I love Elijah. He's my favorite character.
I love him. This is a great Elijah scene. He's a psycho, but I love him.
Yeah, best scenes. This is we've been saying about the wolves, how they suck because they're villains, but they just have no charisma. Elijah has nothing. In spades. He's dripping and
oh my god, I'll get there. Yeah. And so he pulls Stevie up and he's like, what about you, sweetheart? And Elijah breaks his neck by hitting him so hard with his elbow that it breaks his neck. Elijah.
He's just showing off now.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, you did not have to rizz me up that hard. I was already sold.
Yeah.
But then to rizz even further, Elijah goes over to Damon. He's pulling off the chains. It's very sexual.
It is because they're just holding eye contact. They're staring at each other, and he just rips the chains off of him, and it's
so easily too.
And Damon's kind of smirking in a weird way. I don't know. It's so it's a lot of chemistry.
There is a lot of chemistry. Someone link me a Elijah Damon fanfic, please. I need it. But Elijah's you realize this is the 3rd time I've saved your life. Mm-hmm. Sort of calling back to the, earlier conversation where Elijah was stay on my good side and I'll keep saving your life.
Yeah.
And Elijah leaves with the moonstone. He's like, I've done what I need to do here.
Yeah, Elijah's definitely regretting this deal with Elena. He's protecting Damon and Stefan more than he's protecting Elena.
Yeah, Elena's fine. He's just trying to save Damon and Stefan, keep them alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, Elijah leaves with the moonstone, and we see a little bit later on, Damon talks to Bonnie, and Bonnie tells Damon that Elijah still plans for Elena to die. Yeah. That she has to die.
Yeah, they heard it straight from the witch's mouth.
Yes. What they said. Yeah. And finally, Alaric comes back to life. I bet you forgot he was there because it took a minute. But yeah, he comes back to life. And then Alaric calls Jenna, and he, you know, because he was supposed to go, like when he was on his way out.
He was literally on his way out when he got killed.
Yeah, he was supposed to go hang out with Jenna, and he tells her he fell asleep. He tries to lie first and say he's grading papers, but
it's not. Yeah, he's bad at the lying because he's like, I was grading papers and I fell asleep. Yeah, and it's like this weird it's not coming off truthful at all. And also, we already know, obviously, Jenna's primed to believe he's a liar after John.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's just not looking good. It's really bad for Alaric, and it's like the Caroline situation where you're like, I feel for him because you know, he was killed.
He was literally killed. He died.
But also, Jenna deserves to know.
She does. So, she does.
Don't feel for him in that regard.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, anyway, so they've set that up. And yeah, love that Bonnie had to call Damon again, the employees. Like they didn't they didn't go to Stefan. She didn't feel like she should tell Elena first.
Yeah,
no, it's like, let me tell Damon. This is a problem for Damon to solve.
He's running the show.
Yeah, he'll figure it out. So back to the lake house, where of course then Damon is the one that fills in Stefan. Damon calls Stefan to fill him in and tell him like what they learned straight from the witch's mouth, that it is intended that Elena is going to die. And so, you know, he's like, okay, like I'll tell her. And like he gets off the phone and tells Elena, expecting her to be really upset. And she's obviously like, I know the deal I made. Like, Elijah was very careful with his words. He will protect the people I love, and he didn't really say anything about me. Yeah. Stefan is obviously so pissed.
Yeah, he's very upset.
Yeah, he's so upset. And he's like going on to say like that he'll do anything to protect her and like she shouldn't martyr herself. Like, you know, he has lived 162 years and she's barely begun living, which is so weird to recognize the 140-year age gap right there for a second. A little bit of an ick for me.
A little bit.
But the intention is real of being like, you know, you have just begun. Me dying to save you is like noble because like I have lived a whole life.
Yes.
You are
multiple lives.
Multiple lives. You are 17.
Yeah.
Like you don't deserve to die just to save me. Like it's different. So they're not going to get along we'll see the next one how that goes. But,
little Stelena moment ruined. Unfortunately.
Yeah. They had a good run. So then back at the Forbes house, Bonnie and Jeremy are talking. They're kind of taking care of like the cleanup or whatever. I guess Caroline has taken Luka's body to just drop him at the grill is what they say.
Yeah, I think she like puts him in the bathroom or something. I don't know.
They're like, we're going to lock up behind us. Anyway,
sure.
They had nowhere to put them. So Bonnie has a moment with Jeremy where, you know, she's saying like, I've known you forever. I knew you're doing your like punk phase, your awkward phase, your emo phase, your druggy
dragging him, basically.
She is dragging him. It's pretty good though. And it works because then she's like, overnight you became this hot guy who's so sweet. And he's like, you think I'm hot? Like it works perfectly. Yeah. They end up kissing.
Yep.
I do like Bonnie and Jeremy, I think. Like, there's obviously mixed feelings about where it goes. But whatever. I think
for now,
moment,
I like them.
Yeah, at this moment, they're pretty cute. And, like, I don't know. I think it works. It was a long build-up, but it's nice that they've gotten to this point. So,
yeah.
I'm pro Bonnie and Jeremy for now.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. And Bonnie's pro, too. She gives a little wow after they have, like, their first kiss.
Yeah, she's amazed.
Yeah, she's like, oh, wow. And they keep kissing. So we leave that there.
Yeah.
But not a good segue here. Back at the Lockwood mansion.
Yeah, sad.
Yeah, we see Carol, like, back at the house. She's kind of, like, going up the stairs to go to bed, presumably. It's clearly night. We saw in the little scene at the lake house. And she thinks she hears something downstairs. So she goes back down and she looks at like the center table that they have. And she just finds a letter that's addressed to Mom.
Yeah. And there's also like a big vase of flowers, which I don't know if that was like hers that was already there. If that was also like left for her.
Yeah.
Not clear, but I like to imagine that he went out of his way, got like a vase of flowers for her, got some fresh flowers.
I know.
But yeah, the real victim in the Lockwood family, Carol, just getting left behind all the time and having no one in that huge house by herself.
I know.
So of course, on his goodbye tour, couldn't say a word to his mother, but had to go to the grill. Tyler goes in to talk to Matt and explains, he's been going through a rough time. Again, another person we should be leaning more heavily into the fact that their parent died a couple months ago.
Even more recently than Elena's.
Yeah, his dad just died. I feel like that would have been reason enough to be like, my dad died. I'm struggling, Matt. Caroline's helping me. Yeah. Which is kind of what, that's not what it's about, but he's saying, like, I'm going through it. Caroline has really been very helpful. But, like, she's in love with you, Matt, and you're the one that she needs. And he leaves kind of saying, like, I'll see you soon. And it's kind of like an awkward goodbye where even Matt kind of looks a little like, that was weird. Yeah. And we'll go into, obviously, where he's going with that. But I do respect Tyler for, like, going to Matt and trying to fix things for Caroline before he just, bounces down. Like, it shows how much he cares about her that he was like, definitely. I can't, like, make it good with her before I go, but I will, like, fix this for her because that's what I can do. Yeah. So yeah, again, a good guy. And to his like good guy arc.
This is it. This little goodbye tour is his last little leg. Yeah.
So yes, continuing the goodbye tour is next. Tyler shows up at Caroline's. We see her kind of like in bed. She hears a noise and she goes to kind of look but doesn't see anything. I don't think she does because then she locks the door and it shows that Tyler is standing outside. And I don't know, did she lock the door on him? Did she know he was there or did she just like lock it just in case?
I read it as like she didn't really see him, but she heard a noise, so she locks it anyway. I mean, she did just get kidnapped. I'd be making sure my doors are locked too.
But he doesn't like do anything to like knock or like make sure to say. I don't know. I think he chickened out. I guess.
I think he did too. I think I either read it as like he just wanted to see her before he left. Yeah. Or he maybe did go with the intention of trying to say something and then he just couldn't. Yeah. But yeah.
Either way, he doesn't say anything. Yeah. So he just leaves and he walks down the street and then he gets into a car and in the car is Jules. And, he says, I'm sorry about your friends. Yeah. Jules has all died. I would say Jules is presumably the only person left alive.
Also, Brady is like her significant other, I assume. They were kissing. She called him baby.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Everyone's dead. Also, she's going to leave that RV in the woods evidence. I don't know what they're going to do. Anyway, who knows? Who cares? Yeah. So, Jules and Tyler are obviously leaving town together because they do say, like, that's the best we can do is leave town. So, and I do feel bad for Jules that she showed up with like a dozen people, but she's going home with the one thing she said she wanted, which was the boy. Yeah. So, I guess she got what she came for, but that leads us nicely into our in memoriam, which is what she lost.
Yeah, she lost everything to gain the boy, Tyler. First, she lost Brady, not first, but like she lost Brady, who was killed by Stefan, which is apparently her significant other. But again,
heart ripped out.
Heart just ripped right out. Alaric was killed by Stevie. Yep. So she didn't lose Alaric, but and he came back to life. So that's we'll still count
but this is
but
Alaric's second death. We're keeping tally since obviously we know as rewatchers, it's important to keep a note. So second death, stabbed in the stomach. Yeah. By a werewolf.
By werewolves. Yeah. And then the three other wolves that came with Stevie to the Salvatore house to torture Damon were killed by Elijah, and then Stevie of course was also killed by Elijah.
The three wolves with the heart extraction and Stevie with the broken neck
from the elbow to the face.
Crazy.
Wild. So a lot of deaths.
And keeping up with the werewolves are out of pocket, things we would have done differently. It's always going to be the werewolves. For me, it was the burning the bodies of their friends. I thought that was really weird.
That's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like we can't just take them home and at least give some peace to their families. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. Doesn't really seem to fit. The only thing I had for out of pocket, I was thinking about it. I was like, it's pretty out of pocket for Tyler to go along with his plan and not know what's even gonna happen to Elena. Like he just thinks. I assume they just didn't tell him anything,
but which he didn't ask. Worse.
But but he didn't ask. Like he was just like, I know. Oh, sure, I'll help you. Like go kidnap. I assume was the plan. My childhood friend. Like
I did.
After I saw you torture my other childhood friend, like, what is he thinking?
He's gonna bring Matt to him next.
Yeah, like what, Tyler?
I know. I did think about Tyler, but again, I was like, I just want to give him the benefit of the doubt and his like how naive he is, and I feel bad that I'm like he thinks the best of people. He doesn't know how bad it is.
No, I agree. I'm willing to give Tyler. Also, he's 17. He's naive. Like,
he is.
Whatever.
Naive.
But these adult werewolves.
Yeah, maybe it's the werewolves taking advantage of Tyler as the out of pocket.
That could be out of pocket. Either way, I think it goes to the werewolves.
Yeah, either way, just the wolves as a whole, just as the characters.
Yeah.
Next we have quotes. We've got some good ones. There were lots of fun, like little funny one-liners and things in this episode. First, I had to nominate Andy. Well, not Andy. Damon talking about Andy, saying, "If I killed her, who would report her death?"
That was the only quote I had. I thought that was really funny.
It's so funny. If I did, who would report her death? It's such a good reason to not kill a news reporter, although it didn't stop them with Logan. So
true, very true.
Not a good track record with the news.
Really.
But I love that they need a news anchor so frequently in this show that they're like, we'll just keep writing them in. We'll just always have somebody. Eventually they make Caroline because it's the only, only permanent one. But anyway, they always need a news anchor.
Yeah.
Next, I did want to call out Elijah.
Of course.
Well, so Alaric talking about Elijah. I keep getting mixed up who's the subject of the quote and who the quote is being said by. In this case, it's Alaric saying, "Yeah, Elijah's one scary dude, but with nice hair." I was like, that really sums him up for me.
It does. No, it does.
But my favorite, the one I really wanted to win, is Elijah. I'm an original. Show a little respect.
I'm good with giving it to Elijah. The Damon one is just kind of jokey. It's just funny.
It is so funny.
Same for the Alaric one. It's funny.
But that's such an iconic Elijah one to me. Like, if I were made to recall an Elijah quote just out of any context of the show, that's like one that would really come to mind is, "I'm an original, show a little respect."
Yeah,
that like sums up his whole character in a way.
It really does. Yeah, let's go with that for the quote.
Love it. "I'm an original, show a little respect."
As for song, I only had one song, and it was, of course, Now You've Cursed Me. Now all the main songs are just these like sad final songs.
It's the arc of the episode, because I also only had the last song.
Okay. The song is Family Tree by Matthew West. It was just the last song that was playing while Tyler's like doing his goodbye tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It fit, I mean, again, like we've mentioned, like it fit very lyrically to the moment.
Yeah.
It was like talking about like, this is not your legacy. Yeah. You're not what your father is and what your father's father was. And like, it felt like it fit Tyler in a way to be like, kind of like, I don't know, realizing he had to forge his own path and that his life was going to be different. He needs to leave to find that. And, you know, good emotional last song, like always.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Love that.
I'm happy with it,
Yeah. So we'll be adding Family Tree by Matthew West to our best song of every episode playlist. You can find that linked in our various bios and descriptions, as well as links to our TikTok and our Instagram, where we're always posting fun like clips and memes and just random things, polls and whatever that you can participate in, join all of the conversations. So we hope we see you there.
Yeah, and you can listen to the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you're not already, or you can watch the video version on YouTube if you're not doing that. So join us next week for Season 2, Episode 15, The
house guest. The dinner party.
Dinner party.
Getting ahead of ourselves. The dinner party.
Getting ahead of myself. But yeah, the dinner party. Obviously, they have a little dinner party with Elijah, Andy, Alaric, Jenna, Damon.
All my favorite couples coming together.
And Elijah.
Yeah. My favorite person.
Yeah. No, that's a fun one. This is where I think we do start to like come a little bit out of the lull. We're not fully back. But we're getting there.
We're leaving the wolf story behind, and we're officially getting into the original story.
Yes.
Like that, we're starting that transition, and we're ramping up for a Klaus arrival in like T-4 episodes.
Yeah. So this is a good sign.
Yeah,
we're turning tides. It's gonna be good.
Love it.
Yeah. So join us.
Yeah. Hope we see you next week. Thanks for watching and or listening to this one. Bye.